welcome to For the Culture, brought to you by Lipstick Entertainment. You can catch us at For the Culture every Monday at 7 p.m. right here on Facebook as well as on YouTube. I'm your girl, Miss Moi.
I'm AWB.
I'm the Diva.
And thank you so much for joining us tonight. Hello, ladies.
Hello. Hello.
Everyone looks great.
I'm loving the black.
Loving it.
Absolutely.
Loving it. So For the Culture is definitely a show that is based around things that matter to us,
Right.
to our community. And so we wanted to bring forth a show where we could represent ourselves in a positive light, also inform our family, our friends, our viewers on things that matter to us.
That's right.
So
Absolutely.
tonight we are talking about COVID and how it has affected our community. You guys ready?
We're ready.
So speaking on COVID itself, going back to the very beginning, when we first heard about it,
Right.
what they told us where it started in like China or something, right?
Right. That's right.
And then little by little, they started shutting the country down. What did you take from that?
Well, when I first heard about it, what they were saying initially is that it was not going to affect the black and brown communities, okay? We had a natural immunity to it. That's what they initially said. So we had a comfort that was false.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Diva?
I definitely remember them saying that as well and thinking there's no way we can just be determined by race and we won't get something
Right.
if it's truly a pandemic. So I definitely remember the miseducation and trying to find education, especially for our people and how it would affect us in our communities and even myself being a mom and my household. So I
Right.
definitely remember that.
When I first heard about COVID, I thought it was a myth. I thought it was a political stunt. I thought it was something that was being used to control the narrative in one way or another. So I never thought that it would affect me
Right.
or people I know
Right.
because I didn't even think it was real.
Right.
And so I guess I had a, I don't know if it's ignorant or honorary way of thinking, but I'm thinking we're too wealthy for that, to be shut down like that. Like we're too educated for that, right?
It
Boy,
shut us down.
Were we
Yeah.
It
wrong?
shut us down.
Man.
It shut us down. And so then there was a time throughout that process where it seemed like not just the nation, but the world was shut down
Mhm.
at once.
You
Do you
couldn't go
remember?
anywhere. You couldn't fly. And if you went to another country, you were staying there. They were not letting you back in. You know, and that part was a little scary because we
Yes.
all know somebody from someplace and they can't come home.
Exactly.
You know, it was very, very scary, and like you said, it almost seemed like it was a miseducation. We had a lot of miseducation, and it felt like it was just a distraction from something else.
Yeah.
You know, and then the leadership that we had for the country at the time, he gave all kind of misinformation.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know, so nobody knew what to believe really, and I believe because of that we are still in a terrible situation because you have people who don't believe it still,
Exactly.
and people have died.
And you had people walking around thinking, oh, well, it won't happen to me. I won't get it. You know, again, going on with the miseducation, again, leadership hiding actual numbers and facts about people dying,
Right.
people that were
Right.
hospitalized, all the above. It just went through so many phases. But I think try to think of the positive also that came out of the country being shut down. You know, I had never experienced that in my lifetime.
Ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ever.
You know, but it was just kind of surreal.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like we were in one of those movies where you go outside and it's like the tumbleweeds rolling
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
For me, when I actually realized it was real,
Mhm.
I went into a state of panic. Just dealing with anxiety already and the state of the unknown for me sometimes can be difficult. So I remember buying all these snacks for the kids. I remember just trying to clean the house a million times and thinking, you know, well, if this is the end, I want us to go out comfortably. Like I was having some really weird thoughts and moments.
People
But
were
it's
going into panic mode.
yes,
Exactly.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But it took me a second to get there because at first I didn't want to sit still. I was like, they can't tell us we can't go here and we can't go there. And I remember going up to Chicago. First of all, I couldn't even find a hotel. And then the one that I did find was very popular. It was like a ghost town. And I was like, this is a real
What's
thing.
going on? What's really going
I
on?
really need to like reassess because this is a real thing. For this hotel to be like, it was like a Hyatt or something.
Mhm.
You know, there's usually people everywhere. There was nobody. So crazy.
I definitely understand that. My daughter at the time was working for a major hotel chain,
Mhm.
and they laid off basically their whole staff, with the exception of maybe like a handful, because of the fact that they had to cancel all kind of events.
That's right.
They were people coming from different parts of the country were no longer allowed to travel here, per se,
And that's where I feel like black and brown people were disproportionately affected. Okay,
Exactly.
because most of us work in those industries, the
Exactly.
hotels, the restaurants, retail, and those are the places that shut down. You
Yes.
couldn't go anywhere and find anything, and then of course the leisure, the nail salons, the barber shops, everybody you had to stay at home.
exactly.
Yeah.
I remember I say I'm the diva, so the nail salon trip was really took me out. I was like, what, you mean I can't go see my favorite nail technician?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
And at the time, luckily I was working from home, but it was just getting used to even that concept. Corporate America was saying, no, you can't work from home, you
Yeah.
can't work from home, you
Yeah.
can't work from home, until we had to go
Mhm.
home to work.
Well, see, I'm in retail, so we didn't shut down at all. And my employees, they were getting sick, they were scared, they didn't want to. We had customers coming into the building that didn't want to wear the mask, and people literally actually coughing in your
Oh,
face and
goodness,
making
yes.
a joke of it, and so we were at one point. I had 3 associates, that were
Wow.
willing to come to work,
Wow.
I remember when the shutdown was happening, I said to my boss, so what are you going to do if they close the schools with me? Because I'm a parent before I'm a worker. So what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if that happens, then we'll have to send you home. I was the first person, you remember, to go
Yes.
home.
Mhm.
Because I was like, about my sons, I got to go. Yes, I want this
Exactly.
paycheck, don't get me wrong. But if the schools are closed,
Yeah.
I have to be
You
with
have to
them.
Yeah.
And if adults are scared, imagine how the
Imagine
kids
babies,
feel.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And statistically, the kids have suffered probably the most during this pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
The online schooling. You took kids that were way up here
Woo.
and they came way down here. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to have adults be disciplined enough to sit.
Yeah.
You want the kids to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking when it first happened, oh, this is great. This is a break from them. They don't have to go into the building, blah, blah, blah. But after a while, it got really sad for me for them.
Right.
Because it's like, what about the field trips?
Yeah.
What about recess?
Well,
and what about their
sports,
sports
everything,
and
yeah.
them and their favorite
And
teacher
just
and
your
everything?
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And then if you think of the ones that are kind of socially awkward anyway,
yeah.
That really took an effect on them, because they were like, not only were they not getting interaction with people,
Mhm.
they really had to adjust when they did go back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about the surprise of the pandemic, what COVID did to us mentally,
Yeah.
and also some of the adjustments that we've had to make on our jobs. How about when it came time for us to eat? Going to those grocery stores.
Yes.
Wow.
It was very difficult because the grocery stores were not stocked. First of all,
Yes.
there was very little, and what was there was picked over.
Mhm.
So now they're saying, okay, before you take the groceries in your house, you have to disinfect them. How do you
Right.
disinfect groceries?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, so you're wearing gloves, and we were doing things that didn't make sense, because you have on your gloves, you get in your car, you get out the car with your gloves on, you push the cart with the same gloves on,
Right.
then you
Yeah.
got your keys that you put. What are we doing here?
And
We didn't know what to do.
honestly, and a lot of the habits that people have had to develop because of COVID, I did anyway.
Mhm.
I wash my hands. You
Yes.
know, I cover my mouth if I cough.
Yes.
You know,
Things we
Yes.
should have been doing
Yes.
all the time.
so
yeah.
it really was making me mad, especially to see people just with so disregard for other people's lives, you
Yeah.
know, without being protected or going out knowing that we're sick, you know,
Yeah.
and it's still happening.
Yeah.
People are still going out.
I think what was frustrating to me when it came to the grocery stores was, if you don't need it, please save it for someone else that does.
Oh, you're
Exactly.
talking about the hoarders, the ones,
Yes.
the ones who were buying all the Lysol and all the
Yeah.
toilet
How
paper.
did we run
And
out of
all-
toilet paper?
We ran out of toilet paper.
Okay, and this question is going to sound totally, but I know somebody else was thinking it. Why did all the toilet paper go away?
Well,
I
that
just
question
can't
was
get it.
on the table. Pandemic, toilet paper.
What was the correlation?
What were we doing there?
Exactly.
You know, I get the Lysol because you want to disinfect.
Exactly.
You
Right,
know?
Exactly.
I get the hand sanitizer, and
The bleach.
I've been a hand
Yeah.
sanitizer for. They used to laugh at me at work because every time I touch money, I'm sanitizing.
Exactly.
You know?
Right.
Because
Exactly.
I'm touching money. You
Yeah.
know, I want to clean my hands.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, we ran out of everything.
I don't
my
know
shelves were empty.
Where I was, fast forward. So I know we're at the beginning. Fast forward. But a lady was in the same vicinity as me. So I don't know if I was getting my hair braided or I was somewhere where people were talking and I could hear them. She said, and I quote, "I went to every store that I could and bought all of the disinfectant wipes they had, all of the hand sanitizer that they had." She said, "And I took it home and I sold it." I felt,
Wow.
thinking about it makes me emotional. Like, why? What type of greed, first of
Yeah,
all,
greed.
is that? But secondly,
Absolute.
why would you do that?
What kind of mind? What kind of mindset?
I was like, ooh, and she said it out loud. Like,
and
it
she was proud.
funny.
She was proud of
And
it.
she was like, "Oh, I made so much money," and I'm like,
Isn't that something?
But when you think about it, it is a moneymaker. Any kind of a pandemic becomes a moneymaker for your major retailers that are able to stay open and stay stocked.
Yeah.
"Yeah,
Because they can then have the authority to jack the rates
Some places were jacking. Hand
Yes.
sanitizer was going up to like $9 and $10. I'm
For a
talking
small bottle.
for $1 bottles.
Exactly.
You know, and people were paying it.
Because we didn't have a choice. Exactly. You know, gas prices even. You know, we saw the gas price surge.
Yeah.
It's like we're not even really driving our cars right now. Why is the gas prices so astronomical?
Yeah.
But you had to make sure you had gas because what happens if the gas station is closed?
Right.
If you have to go out of your house.
What was crazy also was to watch the news and them cover the different cities or the different states and how, I mean, a tumbleweed could go through.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was like, oh my God. But it also made me think about the homeless. Because if
Right.
you don't have somewhere to go on a regular basis,
Right.
What are you doing in that kind of situation?
where are you going now?
Right.
And who warned you?
Yeah.
Who prepared you? Because
Right.
in some way or
And who's gonna
another,
welcome you in?
And then I know here, even in Indiana, a lot of the homeless shelters actually had to turn people away because they had
So
become
sad.
so overpopulated. You
Yeah.
know, and a lot of the people were black and brown.
Yeah.
You know, which is really sad. But at the same time, you have to look at it as that's still an organization where they had to make sure that people were protected, the people that were there.
That's right.
You know, from getting COVID potentially,
Yeah.
or being exposed, being out in the elements. Because again, went through a cold season. It was still kind of cold here in Indiana, at least. You know, when COVID first started happening, what was going on.
Yeah.
You know, so it definitely is food to think of. You know, how do we prevent that going forward? Because we still have people that are still homeless
right?
that very well may not have access to health care
Right.
Yeah.
to be
Exactly.
informed that they're even positive.
Now, we talked about how scary it was for our jobs if you had to work with the public, or even if you had to go home, for our children who had to leave the school buildings that they knew of. Also, the scarcity in the grocery stores. But what about what it did to us mentally? I don't know if you guys noticed, but I had never seen rioting like that before in my lifetime.
Yes.
I hadn't seen that type of stuff.
I think that people, when you put fear and ignorance together, I mean, you're just asking for trouble, you know, and people didn't know what to do. People were angry, people were sad, people were mad. It was all the emotions,
Yeah.
all of the emotions, and they were all happening at the same
At the
time.
same
Yeah.
time, yeah.
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 And people were, and you would think that people would, you know, situations like this, we would come together and we would be kinder to one another, be more accepting, more receptive. It almost seemed like it got worse.
But at the same time, you're dealing with COVID while black.
Yeah.
So we're still dealing with, the same injustices that we deal with all the time. We're just in a pandemic.
Now. Yeah.
And so George Floyd and that situation going the way it did is because, first of all, it was wrong. It was horrible, but it also happened at a time where we've been trapped.
Yeah.
And so we got all this aggression and all this anger, and we can't go anywhere.
Right.
And it was like, ooh,
Yeah.
it's time to do something.
Yeah.
We had so many cases of domestic violence rise.
Yes.
So many marriages be filed for divorce.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, all because, you know, we're put in situations where we had to actually
We had
deal
to be,
with.
we had to stay right
Exactly.
there. You live here, I live here, we got to be here.
Right.
24/7.
Can you imagine? We don't have to imagine it. We did it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're looking at people in your house like, oh, why are you here?
Still. Like,
Still.
Yeah.
You don't have no. Oh no, you don't have no place to go.
Right.
Yeah.
You know that, and unfortunately, we had to. To be safe. That's it. We couldn't see I couldn't go visit my mom. Do you know how hard
Right.
it is? Your mom is there, but you can't go see her.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
That's
I mean, if it were not for technology,
yo.
you know, and my
Yes.
parents having iPhones where we can actually FaceTime, and I'm not giving them a plug. I'm not
Yeah.
giving them a but you know, just being able to, you know, do that with my parents, with my kids. I had a daughter who was at Ball State at the time until they sent them home.
Mhm.
You know, that was a whole other thing. My other child lives out of state. And I have another child that lives inside the state, but in a different city. You know, it was just a whole different.
How was it for the college students?
Oh my goodness! Now they were truly in a state of panic. You know, they went from not even knowing on the campus what was going on to being told that the campus was being quarantined. You had to stay in your rooms. Then it went to, okay, you have 3 days to come get your kids. You know, so it was like a whole different
And all of their belongings?
in all their belongings.
Okay.
They truly had everything moved out of the dorms. They had to go through and mediate, they called it, with COVID treatments. You know, they had the companies out there doing that. And before they could come back to college, they had to test negative. My daughter actually was one of the kids that actually got COVID there on the campus before it was really even said what it was. And she's asthmatic, so you know that was real traumatic for me. Here I am at home,
Yeah.
and my baby's on the other end coughing her for her full head off, and it's like, I'm coming to get you. I don't care what they're saying.
Period.
Right.
You know,
Period.
Right.
you're
Yeah.
my child, and I'm not leaving you there.
Yeah.
And the poor, the high schoolers, the seniors, and the college,
Yeah.
they couldn't they couldn't walk. They
Exactly.
graduated, but they couldn't walk.
They didn't
Can
have
you
their own
imagine?
ceremony,
Yeah.
I mean, I know we were thinking about our health, we were thinking about our life, and these poor babies, they can't walk across the stage.
They were robbed. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's something that we've all been bred to look forward to,
Yeah.
because it's a sense of
Yeah.
accomplishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be
It's a
able
big
to get,
deal.
Right.
It's a big deal.
to have
you
our
know?
families come and celebrate
Yeah.
with us,
Yeah.
and,
Your open
Yeah.
house and
Right.
all that.
and all that was shut down.
My oldest graduated from college. He couldn't walk. So the following year, when it started to open up a little bit, that graduating class invited those seniors back
That was
to
awesome.
walk
Yeah, that was
with
awesome.
them. You know, and that was awesome because, you know, we wanted to enjoy that. We wanted to
Right.
see that, you know. They worked hard for it.
So
you
we
know?
talked about the elementary kids going up to middle, high school, the seniors. We talked about the college students. We talked about everyday workers. What about the people in the nursing homes?
Wow.
My God. Listen, my mom got sick. And I'm sure they didn't call it COVID because it was before they were saying COVID. But thinking back, she had all of those
Symptoms.
all of those symptoms, right? And she went to the hospital, and they released her to a rehab center. Listen, I don't know if you have had to deal with a nursing home or rehab, but that whole system needs to be shook up and shaken down.
Wow, you said a mouthful.
It was horrendous. Do you hear me when I say we went to visit my mom in this rehab center? She had a room that was, the bed was broken down. She had a recliner chair. It was broken down. And wait, because I'm in Indy and I'm trying to navigate in South Bend. You know, I'm trying to, and they're telling me that this is one of the best in the city.
Wow.
This is one of the best in the city. We went, she was in for Thanksgiving that year. We went to pick her up, and we said, we're getting her out of here. We're getting her out of here. This makes no sense. And the people who were working that day, they were so mean to these people.
Yeah.
Baby, if some jobs, some careers you should not go into if you don't have the heart for it.
Yeah.
And taking care of sick individuals,
Yeah.
you need to have a heart for that.
Yeah.
I ended up working on the administrative side of things in a facility.
Mm.
So, you know, having to actually even go into the facility, having to be tested twice a week, you know, and then, as you said, seeing the level of care
Heartbreaking.
just disintegrate. But, you know, you couldn't be mad necessarily also at the front line because they were so stressed. They were overworked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were
Yeah.
pulling doubles and triples. And then, you know, the facility I actually happened to be in, they actually had a COVID unit.
Yeah.
Whereas they made it where if you ended up with COVID, you could still work because you can go work on a COVID unit. You know, but then there were some places that didn't even make that an option for their staff members. You know, so it went from, again, all different extremes. You know, everything we were kind of going through in the outside world, we call it, you know, they definitely were going through it 3 times over in the facilities. You know, kind of what you're saying.
The essential workers.
Exactly.
We became essential.
Exactly.
Isn't that something?
Right.
It's heartbreaking, and the fact that we're, you know, we thought that we were on a downward slope, right?
Right.
And now it's rising up again. What are we going to do?
Outside of just that, speaking on the nursing homes, what about the hospitals?
Exactly.
During this whole process, I mean, it's like, are they going to get a break? Are they going to get some type of relief because they have worked all the way through this?
Continually.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, hospitals are busy on a
Anyway,
normal
yeah,
day.
yeah.
You're going to go in there and you're
Yeah.
going to wait in any waiting room, especially if it's an emergency. But what happens when the whole nation is sick? I can't imagine.
Exactly.
I can't imagine.
And as it is, they're already having to transfer to different hospitals here in Indiana. You know, and I'm sure in other states are kind of experiencing the same thing. My dad works in the hospital system, and he says he comes in the entry and there are patient beds there when they're on a high rate of, you know, hospitalizations. You know, and it's just, how do you deal with that? You know, mentally, how do you deal with coming in and as soon as you walk in the door, there's a patient laying in the bed?
Well, as a patient laying in the hallway, I had no idea, first of all, that I was in the hallway.
Wow.
Because, you know, you're out of it. And I didn't go in for COVID. I went in for another issue on an emergency basis, and that's where I landed, right there in the hallway.
Wow.
You know, and I think I realized I was in the hallway when you said, why are you in the hallway?
Right.
I had no clue. You know, I just
Right.
assumed that the doctors were coming in and out of my space, you know, but they were so busy, they had no rooms, so that's what they had to do. I was in the hallway,
Right.
you know.
I think another thing that we've done during the whole process of the COVID era, as I want to call it, is we've become our own doctors.
We had
We
to.
are at home drinking things, taking zinc. I've never
That's
taken
what I'm saying.
zinc in my life. Okay,
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
just
That is the real
we're eating
statement.
soup
Yeah.
more than ever.
Yeah.
I got everything that got orange flavor to it.
Yeah.
I mean, we are like, nope, let's eat more of this
Yeah.
because if we can avoid going around even more sick people,
Right.
then let's do that.
Right.
Definitely going back to what you're saying, you know, our natural remedies, you know, the sea moss,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the
What does CMOS do?
it's supposed to help with mucus
Okay.
and
Okay.
mucus formation.
Okay.
I found it in gummy form
Okay.
because I have a thing with taking pills. So yeah. I
Okay,
think-
we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I've been taking all the vitamins.
Yeah.
Yes.
D, C, B.
Elemental P.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
You got a letter, I got a vitamin.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then, okay, so the beginning, the mid. Okay, what happens when you have COVID
Mm.
and you're scared to death?
So
there.
who got COVID first out of the three of us? When did you get it?
I got it in October of 2019. actually.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So right when they were trying to tell us what it was,
Okay.
and it was crazy because a group of us were talking, and if we actually thought about it, people had it long before.
Yeah, they did.
Mhm.
They said anything about it.
Yep.
People were like, "Why am I still having this cold and this
Yes,
cough?"
yes.
And it's 18
This-
weeks later.
And
Yeah.
why are my joints hurting?
Exactly.
What
The
is
joints.
happening? What is
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
And why have I lost my taste
Right.
and my
Yeah.
smell?
Yes.
You know, I actually again was working from home,
Mm-hmm.
so I knew exactly where I got it because I had only gone out to like one place.
Okay.
Mhm.
I went to go get an oil change in the dealership,
Mm.
Mm.
and I own a mask, but
Okay.
it's a cloth mask. You know,
Okay.
because again, before all of the stipulations on what the
Mhm,
proper
mhm.
attire or preventative care was, you know, I had on a mask. But there were several people walking around without masks on that were coughing and hacking, and they actually had
Yes.
employees in this place that were sick, and they actually lost one of the employees.
Wow.
You know,
So since you didn't know
Mhm.
that it was COVID yet, how did you treat it? And what was happening? Did you go to the hospital? What were you doing?
I was taking Alka-Seltzer because I love Alka-Seltzer. I
Okay.
think it's works really good. Their flu, you know, something like that. You know, like, I was doing my vitamin C. You know, I was pumping myself up. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm still not getting better. What's wrong? You know,
Yeah,
usually it kind of does it, and I'm good, and I'm a fairly healthy person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I actually ended up going to my doctor's office.
Okay.
How I knew something was up was because I couldn't come in the main entry. I had to go through a side entry.
Okay.
You know, when the person greeted me at the door, I had to stay in my car until they came and got me.
Okay.
When they greeted me at my door, they were like a full hazmat suit. I'm
Oh,
like, okay,
wow.
now this is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, something must really be going on. And so when I got in and they tested me, and it was a rapid test, you know, before we knew what the rapid tests were,
Right.
you know, and I was diagnosed, then they started explaining to me, I'm like, I was kind of like you at first. I was like, you know, I hadn't really heard of it. Almost thought it was kind of like, you know, a political thing.
Yeah.
Because when you look at our history, every time there's an election going on,
Yeah,
some major
something
kind of catastrophe
Happens.
happens.
Yes.
You know, whether it's a hurricane, a tornado,
Yeah.
tsunami, a
War,
pandemic,
yeah.
war, all
Or
that
the
stuff.
gas
all that
prices
stuff,
go through
exactly.
the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff kind of happens when it's a political arena. So, you know, I'm like, okay, is this man-made? Is it made up?
Yeah.
You know, they had the whole theory, and it was, of course, miseducation again of the cell phone towers causing COVID, and
Oh yes, I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
You remember that?
5G.
5G.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
it was. Yeah.
Gee,
so
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I was afraid to use my cell phone. For
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, okay, do I use my cell phone?
Yeah.
Do I not use my cell phone? What's really kind of going on? You
Yeah.
know, it was just
Did you spread it to anyone else?
no.
Okay.
I'll say it. Thank God.
Yeah.
You know, I was at home alone because again, my one daughter lives in her own apartment. My other daughter was at school, and then my son lives out of state.
Okay.
At the time, I was not married.
Okay.
So he stayed at his place, and I was there.
Well, that's
I had
good
my family
that you
giving
didn't-
care packages.
You
so-
didn't affect anyone. That is wonderful.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
is wonderful.
So when I caught COVID, I thought I was gonna die.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Because my body, for me, it kind of felt like a out of body experience. Like I was super weak,
Mhm.
and then I was okay, but I wasn't okay. It was a weird, because normally if I'm sick, I'm sick. And I can't, you know, I'm sick, I got the sick face, blah, blah, blah. But when I had COVID, I was experiencing both. It's
Right.
like I was okay, but then I wasn't. And then I kept taking all these things, hottie toddies, teas,
Right.
vitamins, whatever, soups. I mean, I done had so much soup. Like, and I couldn't get rid of it. And I said,
Right.
this is COVID.
Mm.
You know when you have COVID because it affects you completely different. Your body is different. And then I started getting these pains that I hadn't experienced before. And so that was really scary. And so I got it for my kids. They were gone for a weekend. They both came home and they weren't feeling well. And so I got a little nervous because that's not typical, especially for my youngest. My oldest is asthmatic, so I've dealt with some things with him, but my youngest, not so much. And so I'm like, they're both sick. And they were like drainy and they were just weak. And I was like, oh Lord, okay, let me just save their lives.
Right.
Because that's just what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So
Right,
I was
right.
just giving them medicine and soup and popsicles and Vicks and everything that you know to give somebody. Like they had it all. And in a few days, they were fine.
Right.
And going on.
And then you go down.
And then I went down. And my husband was like, come on, get up. And I was just like, I can't get up.
Right.
Like my body
It shut down.
is like, it's just laying here. And I'm just a head on top of it.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
move.
I'm trying
It
to
ain't
move.
working.
It ain't. And you know what I fell in love with that I got addicted to? It's at Starbucks. What's it called?
Medicine ball?
Yes.
That's it. That's it.
That is so good.
Starbucks
It's
y'all
just,
is money, I'm just saying.
It's okay. I make them at home, so you know.
it was so good. But that's how I felt when I had COVID. And I knew that it was possible that I had COVID. We had a family function. I didn't go because I was like, I'm sick and this is weird. Let me stay.
Yeah.
It was after my birthday, and I was like, definitely had COVID. So that's how I felt. How'd you feel when you had COVID?
Well, when I had COVID, the stubbornness in me, I refused to believe that it was COVID. Okay, because I've got my mask on, you know, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I'm washing my hands, I'm sanitizing, I'm disinfecting, I'm cool. And I just assumed that, you know, because I was taking so many medications for other things, I'm fussing at my doctor. I'm taking too much medicine. It's making me feel, and they're looking at me like, we know what we're doing here, and I'm thinking you don't, because I feel like this.
Right.
And so they gave me a test. My mom took me to my doctor's appointment, and if you want to feel like you are 5 years old,
Right.
have your mom take you to your doctor's appointment. She took me, and she was very sincere. She's asking the questions, and I'm thinking I can ask.
I can
questions.
talk.
So they gave me my test, and I tested positive, and my kids, my son and his wife, they went with me also because they didn't know what was happening with me,
Right.
And they ushered them out the side door, you guys got to go, and so they put us out, and they told me to go home. If I felt any worse, go to the emergency room. But my thing was, so many people were going to the emergency room and not coming back.
Oh my goodness.
And
Right.
I
not
was
coming
not.
back. I said, I am not going to anybody's hospital.
Yeah.
I
I am
refuse.
not.
Yep.
I
I refuse.
laid in my bed. I was so sick. I
Yeah.
couldn't breathe.
Yes.
I couldn't taste. I couldn't smell. And my cousin, my heartbeat. She went to the grocery store for me. One of my dear friends. She went to the grocery store. They just filled me up with soups and vegetables and fruits and vitamins and Vicks and all of this stuff. And my son and my daughter-in-law, they waited on me hand and foot because I couldn't.
Right.
It's horrible. It's horrible, and I laid there, I was looking at the ceiling tiles, and I was, am I going to die here?
And I was
Right.
outside her house
Yeah.
with a boom box.
Right.
But see, I already lost a parent at the start of the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm not ready. Like COVID makes you think, am I ready? I'm not ready.
And
Right.
and you're not ready on that end, and you're not ready on this
Yeah,
end.
exactly.
And I kept thinking, here's what I was thinking. I gotta clean my room.
You
What's
did.
that? You think somebody comes in?
I gotta clean my room. I can't.
Yeah.
My room. I don't want the funeral director to come and get me
Right.
in my room. It's
It's
not
just
clean, So it was just a weird kind of, but then I got over COVID.
Mhm. So you thought.
But those after effects.
That's a great.
Now,
great
do
thing.
you have after effects?
I do.
Okay, what are they?
It's so off guard when it happens, but like with my breathing, I
Okay.
can be sitting perfectly still, or I could be moving around, and then all of a sudden I'll just gasp
Mhm.
for air.
Wow.
And when we first learned about COVID, they were saying, "Oh, side effects go away. They'll go away."
That's what they
Now
said.
they're saying they're permanent.
That's what they're saying.
It is like, how do you deal with now? Are you going to have a whole mass of people that have to file for a disability because they can't perform their job duties anymore because of these kind of things? Do you have people that are going to be able to work and be just fine and deal with the occasional thing? And then you have to look at it too. are we getting COVID before vaccination? Are we getting COVID after vaccination? You know, again, I had it before I even thought about getting a vaccination. You know,
it is very difficult. My side effects, I mean, they're disabling. You know, it's almost like I had to learn how to walk again, and the pain, and you just got to keep going.
Right.
You know, your job, they want you to work, and if you can't work, you go.
Exactly.
I ain't got no Kleenex for you, so you keep it together over here.
I know.
You keep it together.
We're not gonna cry. We're savage.
My side effects, I have this cough that will come and it will go. And when it comes, it's on. Now, I had COVID in May, so COVID is gone, right? But the cough, once it's here, it just keeps going.
Right.
And then I'll get it to calm down, but it's like it's coming back. It's like, reunion time. And then I got a shooting pain in my leg.
And now because you're talking about a cough, I apologize.
No problem. So I have a shooting pain in my leg that started during COVID, and it's in and out as well. Some days I can walk just fine, I can run.
Right.
But then other days I have this shooting, like, thing. And so those are my side effects.
And it probably is nerve damage.
Yeah.
In essence, because again, it's affecting all of your nervous system, all of your respiratory system. It's affecting every part of your body.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't realize about it, you know. And I actually lost at least 2 people close to me, you know, that ended up with COVID.
Yes.
And because they had COVID and other health issues, underlying health issues, you know, that's why one of them demised. The other person was, again, very healthy, but was unvaccinated, got COVID and passed.
Now, it's funny that you say that, because there was something that I watched documentary-wise while COVID was going on, and they were saying that all of these people passed because of COVID, but it wasn't because of COVID.
Right, it was something else underlying.
It was something else. But because they died during that time frame, that's what they labeled it as.
And it's so misleading, because think about the statistics that are going to come out like 20 years from now,
right?
And they're going to have this whole generation of people that died of COVID, and that's not what they died of.
Yes.
Right.
It was a complication of COVID, yes, but because they had other underlying conditions, like maybe a heart condition or something else, how are we truly going to be able to tell who actually passed from COVID versus who passed from other health conditions?
And what about the mass graves?
Yes.
Yes.
Where they're just putting
The
people,
people
right,
with their families, you
Right.
know,
can't account for them.
they can't, they'll never, they didn't get to say goodbye. They didn't get to, nothing.
Right.
Who even authorized that, though? Like, I understand they were afraid of it spreading and this and that, but once the person died, are they still contagious? Like, why did it have to be mass burials like that?
Well, in some states, even were doing mass cremations. They weren't even giving them the option to be buried. They were just cremating people. And you think the same kind of thing, you know, what if my family member didn't want to be cremated?
Right.
You know, but you went and you cremated them, you burned them.
I don't understand how that was
They
legal.
were pulling semis up to the hospitals and just dumping
Bodies. Right.
people into these.
If you're just tuning in, this is For the Culture, and we have been discussing COVID, how it has affected us as a community, and just our thoughts and experiences behind. Is this a disease? What is it? How do we call it? Is it an illness, a disease, what?
The pandemic. It's
Well, COVID itself, is it like
pneumonia.
pneumonia? Is it like a cousin to pneumonia, or is it like a cancer?
I would say it's more of like a bronchial cancer. You know, when you think about it, because it affects that system the most out of our body.
Yeah. Now, another thing that happened because of this, I never have heard, and humor me here, but I had never heard about pandemics before. I never knew knew this was a thing that people had to shut down and stay inside. Were you guys taught about this before COVID?
We were taught about this
Okay.
before, but it's not something that just happens. You know, who in your lifetime thinks that you're going to live through a pandemic?
Right.
You know, so, and then they're going back and forth. It came from China. It came from, you know, it was man-made. But wherever it came from, whatever the originality of it was, it's here.
Right.
It's here. And we have got to, somebody was saying the other day that we need to have herd immunity, where everybody just gets it and then it be done. Well, we thought that with this last strain, we thought that we were getting there, you know,
Right.
but then it came, what's the new strain?
Omicron.
But then there's another one.
Yeah,
Out after
there's
that.
another one's coming.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Insanity.
And each of the strains are getting more aggressive.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know, so that it just makes you really think, okay, they're saying these vaccines are working, but are they truly working? And of course, they give the disclaimer that the vaccines are 100% effective.
But it will, if you
But
have the
it-
vaccine,
exactly.
you won't be affected as much.
Exactly.
So
Yes,
what
It's-
about the people that died after the vaccine from COVID?
Wow,
What about those people?
great question.
I don't think, listen, Dr. Fauci doesn't have the answer, so I know I don't have it.
Right?
I mean-
know I don't have it, you know. But I know that we have got to do the best we can with keeping ourselves and our households safe.
Right.
We must continue to disinfect. We must continue to, things that we learned in kindergarten, to wash our hands, to cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. And we've got to remember to do those things on a regular basis.
Right.
And I get to watch people every day come in, and I won't share what they do, but they do some interesting things. And I have to tell my people, okay, go grab that cart, let's clean that up. Okay, let's,
Yes.
you know, or they're pulling money out of strange places, and I'm like,
Please
okay,
don't
put that under that drawer, put that, because we don't want to put that back out into circulation. We know money is dirty anyway,
Right.
you know, and then we're doing all this extra stuff, you know.
Do you guys think, and I'll start with you, Diva, do you think that there should be another shutdown? Why or why not?
I honestly think it should be.
Okay.
And this is why I say, you're going through the crisis of shutdown anyway. You have schools that have going to virtual learning because they have teachers that are either sick with COVID or calling in.
Yeah.
You have kids that are coming in infected. You have people that aren't able to go to work because they have COVID. I think the shutdown actually did some good.
I think that we're going to have to shut down again. I know that people don't want to hear that financially, but for us to get well, to heal our land, we're going to have to go back in the house.
Right.
We're going to have to, because we're not doing the 6 foot social distancing
Okay,
anymore.
right.
We are coming together in major groups. Tonight, they were downtown.
Oh,
We in the city.
yeah.
We're in the city, you
Right.
know, and the weather's bad. You know, one day it's 60 degrees, then it's 10 degrees.
Yeah.
That's a thing. Then you've got COVID. Then we've got way too much going on.
Now,
and we're
when
not-
you say go back in the house, are you talking about the original shutdown where we were all separated, or when they allowed us to gather in the tents? Remember when they did that
Right.
and it was different? Which one are you speaking of?
I love you, but I don't want to come over your house. I
Right,
just don't.
right.
You know, I
Right.
don't want you to come to my house, and I don't want to come to your house. You know, I think that our households need to go back into our households.
Okay.
You know, and financially, it's horrible. Nobody wants to consider that.
Yeah.
You know, it's horrible. Small businesses closed.
Yeah.
You know, we lost so much. But do you want to lose a couple of dollars, or do you want to lose your life?
That's it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, what do we do there?
I agree with both of you guys. I think that there should be a shutdown for sure. From my understanding, I got word that a lot of the township schools have already gone back virtual and the other schools are easing into it, I do think that there should be a shutdown, especially for things that aren't necessary. Meaning the concert should go. The games should go. Yes, we love these things. They're good for our mental health. But they're bringing together these large groups of people once again.
Yeah.
Restaurants, do your takeout only. You know, let's go back to, yes, it was stressful. Yes, it was scary. But, I mean, there was safety in it. You know, we just decided, you know, we're tired of this one day. And we're going to come back together. And we're just going to, no, you just can't do that. Like, I mean, I think we need to think, how do we curb this and keep it there? Because if other countries are doing it successfully, what are they doing that we're not doing?
Right. Very good point.
Yeah. So moving forward, what do you guys see, and I'll start with you, AWB, is the future with COVID?
I told someone today, I believe this is our new normal.
And when you say that, what do you mean? What is this?
I mean, I think that we're going to have to continue to wear our mask when we go into particular establishments, okay? I think that we really, really, really should continue to social distance. I believe that I don't see it going away. I want it to go away. I pray it goes away, but I don't see it. You know, they shut down the airlines before Christmas. You know, what happened there, you know? And then suddenly they were back up again. What is going on?
Yeah.
I think it's our new normal, and we have just got to take care of our households. I believe that.
Diva?
You know, again, as AWB said, this definitely is our new norm. You know, we actually did not expect COVID the last 2 years.
No.
You know, and we're 2 years in counting. You know, from when we were first told about COVID. You know, I think a lot of it has to do with people going back to the basics. You know, even if it means growing our own gardens, you know, growing some of our own foods, you know, becoming a healthier society, and as far as, you know, eliminating a lot of the smog, you know, these things are viral. You know, you have to think of it, like you said, the social distancing. You know, I despise people being in my space right there like that. When we go into the store, I don't know you. I don't know what your household is like. I don't know how you keep your house. I don't know if you clean your dishes with bleach like I do. You know, those kind of things. But it's, you hate to think of it that way because, you know, I'm also at the other side of things. I'm a very social person. Whereas I like to be around people. I like to interact with people. You know, and COVID being shut down almost drove me crazy. I'm like, okay, somebody call me, let's do something, let's talk on the phone, let's play cards virtually, you know, those kind of things also. So I see both sides of it. It's about us finding a happy medium. What I don't want to see is our people go into suicide and depression and continual stress from this.
For me, during the shutdown before, I experienced a number of thoughts. At first, I was totally fine because I'm an outgoing introvert. So that means a lot of times I'm alone and I'm introverted and I'm okay. But then there's that other time that I'm outgoing and I have to be with people and, you know, I gotta, you know, experience. I have to have both. And so I got kind of stir crazy. And what I would do is like go to the park and go on walks and, you know, just make sure I was social distancing so I could get out the house and stuff. But like you guys, I agree there should be another shutdown, and I think that we should do it in the groups of 10 or less, and I think that we should be stocking on food and different things. I don't think that they're going to tell us that there's going to be a shutdown. I don't think they're going to warn us. I think we got to start paying attention to what's going on.
Yes.
And if you guys look at this holiday season, a lot of your friends, a lot of your followers, a lot of your family was sick. That's a real thing. Right. So I think we should start quarantining ourselves before it is mandated because we should.
It seems like it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
It just really does.
Yeah.
And if we, and I feel like we've got to take care of our kids. So if we do that, should they be at school? Should they be, you know? Because I mean, the kids are getting the sports teams. They can't play sports because the kids are sick. They
Yeah.
can't go on field trips.
Right.
They can't. Let's just keep the babies home. Let's
Yeah.
just go back to the
Yeah.
virtual learning. I'm a extrovert, introverted, extrovert. Okay, I just like to stay home.
Yeah.
So for me, not going here and not going there, that part didn't bother me,
Right.
because I'm going to pick up the phone, I'm going to call 2 or 3 people, I'm going to text 1 or 2 people, and then after that, I'm done anyway,
Right.
So that part I'm okay with, but I do know that a lot of people are not, and depression setting, So what we have to do is, if we do go back in, we have to remember to call one another, okay?
Right.
Check on one another, especially your strong friends. Call your strong friends, okay? Because they're not as strong as you think they are.
Exactly.
You know, and we've got to constantly be encouraging one another.
And another thing with the vaccine, if you choose to get the vaccine, that is awesome. That is your choice.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose not to get the vaccine, that is also awesome, and that is your choice. Let's stop attacking each other because we have decided to go with it or not. Because at the end of the day, the vaccines came out very quickly, and people are still dying. So people should have the choice to choose whatever they want to choose without feeling pressured or bullied. I mean, have you guys seen any of this on your social medias? What is going on?
Well, I think that people, again, I think all of this goes back to fear and ignorance, okay? Because before a thing is a thing, it's not a thing. You see what I'm saying? Before we had seatbelts in every car, there was no seatbelts.
Yeah.
And seatbelts save lives. We know that.
Yeah.
And there was a time I remember. I'm old enough to remember not having seatbelts, okay?
Right.
So before a thing is a thing, it's not a thing, okay? So we are having a whole fit about being vaccinated. Am I saying that? Okay. Helmets. Kids are wearing helmets while they ride bikes. We never wore a helmet to ride
Go out there
a
and
bike.
get that scar.
I mean, and we're looking at
Right here.
we're looking at these people like, really?
They got the pads and everything.
Right.
Really?
My brother just pushed me down the hill. I'm
Right,
still here.
Right.
And
We survived.
We survived, but so I don't know why we're fighting about these shots,
Yeah.
because before kids go to school, guess what? Mumps, measles, chickenpox, they gotta get them.
Exactly.
You're not going to school if you don't have those shots.
And honestly, I can say I was one of those people that were hesitant to get the vaccine at first. Even after I had COVID. I think only because I am one of those kind of people, I like to study things.
Yeah.
But like you just said, we had to, without choice, get the vaccines for chickenpox and
Yeah.
measles and mumps and smallpox and a number of other different things,
Yeah.
and we didn't question it.
And we just go on in there.
And we went and
roll
we
up our
got
sleeve.
it.
Yeah.
And it is truly a choice, as far
Should they do some more research? Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
We actually had this conversation at home because, we have children and some of them are vaccinated. The majority of our children are vaccinated, some of them are not, but they are also grown.
Mhm.
So it still becomes their choice. But, we also have the choice to protect our household, and say, okay, if you're not vaccinated, if you come over, you have to wear a mask or you can't come over. That becomes another issue, but then, again, it's a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather take the chance in being vaccinated and have less of a chance of dying from contracting COVID if I get it again, or forbid, versus not being vaccinated.
So you guys both think there will not be life after COVID? You think COVID will stay with us and keep us in for years and years to come?
Just the way that we are split, okay? So many people not believing that COVID is real, okay? And then the people we're fighting. We gotta get on one accord, first off, okay? We gotta believe it, If you've got all these people over here, 50% of the people, I don't know the percentage, I'm just saying that, You got all these people over here who are not believing it, so they may be infected. It may not be affecting them, but they're still carrying it. And because it's not, now it affects you because now they're in your space, you know? So this is an airborne thing, right?
Exactly.
So how is it gonna go away if we're not making it go away? I just don't understand, you know, and I'm sorry, go ahead. No.
Going along with that, you know, I think about even when they were first talking about how on the Lysol can it said it got rid of COVID before COVID was even announced.
Right.
You know, so we have means to make these things go away, but why are they still here?
Yeah.
That becomes the question.
Well, I think,
Do you guys think this has anything to do with Big Pharma?
I don't know if this one is Big Pharma, but I definitely know it's financial. It's a money game.
Yeah.
It's
How is it beneficial financially?
well, I don't know who is benefiting from it. I don't know, but somebody is benefiting. You know, is it Big Pharma? Well, they came out with the Pfizer, Moderna, and what's the other one? Johnson & Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
They came out with it so quickly, but that's free, right?
But is it really free? It's not. Yeah.
But nothing is really free.
Exactly.
So who is benefiting? I don't know.
That's a great point.
But somebody is benefiting from this.
What's crazy is these are my views, so has nothing to do with them. But it's funny how we were made to believe that COVID wouldn't affect us
Yes.
when we have so many underlying medical issues.
Right.
It's almost like it attacked us. It's almost like it was the opposite of what the rumor was.
Yeah.
Because we're the ones that have the diabetes, that have the asthma,
The
that
high
have
blood pressure,
the high
all of
blood,
that, yeah.
all these things.
Yeah.
Right.
So it seems like someone in the financial industry and the medical field somewhere, I don't know, in politics, should have been saying to the black and the brown, you guys may want to.
And they said the exact opposite.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you think about it,
That is crazy.
that in the fact that, you know, even with cancer, look how much of a moneymaker cancer is.
Oh, God.
Yes.
And it's taking our people out daily.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, not only our people, but just
I had to go a place. I had to get some what do you call those support holes.
Mm-hmm.
So I went over to a place, and the ladies who were helping me, they said I was talking about all the medications that I was taking and all of this, and she said, first of all, get healthy, eat better.
Mm-hmm.
First of all,
Mhm.
she said you need to understand, why would your doctor want to cure you?
exactly.
Well,
Why? Because now they're not making any money.
Exactly.
Okay, the insurance companies are not making any money. Why would they want to cure you?
Right.
We have sent men to the moon. We've got skyscrapers up to the moon,
Right.
and we can't cure cancer. We can't cure diabetes.
And we're not saying that all medical professionals have this view.
This
But
is
it's
my
reality.
opinion.
It's the reality
But
of,
so many
yeah.
people are sick,
Exactly.
ongoing.
Exactly.
And then you can watch someone with a disease get healed and live on, and someone with the same disease.
No. Yeah. Like your HIVs and your AIDS in
Yeah.
our community. You know, how some of the celebrities miraculously recovered from
yeah.
it. You know,
Or they live for a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, just things to think about.
Yeah.
Right.
One thing that we have got to do as a community, we've got to educate ourselves more.
Yeah.
We've got to read more. I heard somewhere, someone said, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book.
And that's so sad. But it's true.
We need to educate, and then when we find out something, we need to share.
Yeah.
We need to share the
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
You know, we need to be that community that we always talk about.
Yeah.
We
Not
need
hoarders of information.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Well, this has been a phenomenal show. Thank you guys so much
Thank you.
for doing this here. This has been For the Culture, and you can catch us every Monday right here at 7 p.m. This is Lipstick Entertainment. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope that you were informed, and we hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Tell somebody about us.